So Eisinger, you cooked a feast here. This is not food for 4 people, this is a feast for a whole army.
Thank you.
Whole army of 4 people in this case.
Well, that's how we do. Even if there is a 2-person, our guests or 10, doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
We
And for
love
me,
to.
it's very important not only for your stomach to get full, but also for your eyes to get full and your nostrils. You know, you have so many different smells, I cannot even describe it here. And it really shows not only your talent, but also your passion for what you do. And I appreciate the time and effort you put into this. We went to the market together and you were very careful about what were you choosing, even on a classic supermarket. What is the importance of good quality ingredients, and also what makes the markets in Istanbul so unique?
Well, the importance is, of course, freshness, quality. How I check it, like from the smell, from its color, of course. It changes, depends on the what I'm choosing, buying. But I always try to get at least like the fresh, like a baby version of the fruit or vegetables, whatever I buy. I try to make when it's the season, either for example, brine the grape leaves to keep it myself year long from the fresh ones I collect. I try to make the yufkas, for example, from time to time myself, if I can. As the markets, it's nice to get like local producers in the markets year long, but the best thing always is to get the
Seasonal.
the seasonal food when it's
And also it's very important.
everything when it's the season.
When we went to the butcher, you knew the person and he knew you, and of course it's a different level of trust and relationship, but he knows that if he lets you down with the quality, you're not coming back, a lifelong customer.
And also
So I find it's important.
of course, for the butchers, you can say, for example, I'm gonna make köfte. He knows from which part of the animal they have to give. Yeah, like today, for example, he offered me to give some lamb parts, which was gives the depth of the flavor. So I said, of course, it would be nice to
Yeah,
give.
and
So
I think this is the small part in Istanbul that makes you understand that it's not just strangers among strangers. It's an extended version of family. You know,
don't
they
get
care about you as a customer.
exactly. You don't get that in big supermarkets. Yeah, it's nice to buy from local shops too. Always.
Now I'm really excited to try your soup. So let's see. So what does it have inside?
Yeah, it's a strained basic lentil soup we have. You can find it in like almost every restaurant you go. It has like onions, butter, and you can add garlic, but we go with a simple way. And a little bit I add as a hint some flour to give nuttiness. I saute and then add the rest, the lentils.
Absolutely. And you added what, paprika, was it?
Yeah, the paprika sauce is kind of a must-have in Turkish cuisine to make the
Also in
final
Manti. I've
touch.
seen it also in
Mhm.
Manti. Is it
Yeah,
the same
yeah,
one?
exactly.
Hmm. It feels homey. You know, it feels like a heartwarming soul food. And I really appreciate it because it warms you up. It makes you feel, I don't know, appreciate it. Kind of like you're back at your mom's house.
Exactly.
It's really, really nice.
That's what I want you to feel like in the mom's
And
house.
I do feel like I'm home here. Absolutely. You made us feel welcome immediately. So you spend most of your life here in Istanbul. What is it that you enjoy the most about this city?
The city, well, we have a rich history, the geography. I mean, really, it's the geography because we are in the middle of 2 continents. The Bosphorus makes the difference, the richness.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and in every season, it gives a different view. And what else? Like the history, I always, like every day, I even learn more about the history. And as you said, there are always coming like from other centuries, like the Romans or Greeks also.
Absolutely.
It's a very old city and historical. So it is kind of a blessing to live in the city.
It is. And through experimenting with flavors, you start understanding much more about the past and about the history of a city. Like you now start replicating a lot of Ottoman recipes. What does that make you feel when you recreate this? Does it make you feel like you're taking a glimpse of the past, of the history of the city?
Well, of course, it is nice to bring back the rich history, Ottoman history, throughout the cuisine, to taste how they were cooking and making recreating the recipes. The Ottoman cuisine was very influenced by the other countries they have, like Middle East, Europe,
Of course, it was always a
Greece.
center. Yeah.
They got many things from others, and it makes the Ottoman cuisine more rich and rich over the time. So it's a nice thing to get from them for us.
Yeah, definitely. Through food, you can definitely understand a lot about the country, and in this case, about the history of the city and the importance and the spice routes and why is it so rich in flavors.
It makes me excited actually to see the similarities we have with different cultures.
Or the way they use the same ingredients in a different way. Like we talk about trahana in this case. Nice. Well, I'm gonna let you eat for now. We're both starving.
Okay.
And I have more questions. So when you were cooking, I was completely mesmerized, not only by your technique and your skills of moving everything together, but actually combining many different things together, like a big puzzle, like many pieces of a story. And it came to my mind, but I thought that maybe cooking is a type of storytelling on its own. And I was wondering whether you believe that through food and flavors, you can understand better and maybe represent the culture of Istanbul in a way.
Well, that's a nice question, really. It's not easy to represent Istanbul in a way because it has like very deep roots. And as I always like it when we talk, it's a mix of different cultures and history, and it also reflects. It has a reflection in the cuisine too. Like even for the sarma we had today, for example, it's a very famous dish. Also in Greece, I know you make that, and in the Middle East. But we have a special version of it, specially for Istanbul, and that's what I cooked for you today. That has mostly spices, but doesn't have tomato or tomato paste, because before in like Ottoman times we didn't have any tomatoes back then. It was like in the late 900s, I believe, we had the tomatoes made, and we loved it and begin to use it in our cookings. But in Ottomans, they were using lots of spices, since Istanbul was also the center of the spices, and lots of the dried fruits and nuts. It was very rich to Ottoman. The palace cuisine was very rich. So they were using nuts and lots of meat, lamb. So it's you also see that in their cuisine, actually, what in their eating.
And I think this sarma is a great representation because the leaves would probably come from Cappadocia, maybe preserved in jars and sold directly in Istanbul. The spices would come from India. The rice would come from China. And all of them would meet here and would make something completely different that is unique to Istanbul, but nothing is native to Istanbul. So I think that's very interesting. What does Istanbul mean to you?
Not easy. Sometimes it makes me tired because of the
It's overwhelming.
yeah, overwhelming. But still, you cannot. It is like the part of you. You don't want to leave anymore. It's not
Yeah,
easy.
it's like a marriage, with the good and the bad. You know how to make it work out.
Like I would choose to live in another city to get a like more calm life. But still would miss here. As
Or it has a
as I
special
was
place.
missing, yeah, when I was living in New York, I used to be a lot of like homesick.
And you said you experienced a lot of similarities between New York and Istanbul.
Yeah.
How is that?
In New York, there are also lots of different people from around the world, and it also has like harbors and the rivers, as we have the Bosphorus here. Even the climate, I think it was like similar. So it made me remember the Istanbul too, with the harbors.
I grew up next to the sea, and yeah, of course, it gives a very different perspective. And on your day, even if you don't use it, just working by it. I grew up in Greece. It's very, very similar culture, of course. Sharing a meal is more than just eating. It's more about, it's like a ritual. It's a place where we open our hearts over a very heartwarming meal, and we talk, we connect with the people around us. What is the importance for you of sharing a meal together, at least here in Istanbul?
Yeah, of course. When I try like new recipes, come up with different ideas and share them with my family and friends, it's nice to see their reaction. You get nice feelings from your work at the end, even though you get tired. It's nice to serve your food to people you love and care.
Yeah, it's one reminder that there's always someone who loves you. There were many little steps, but at the end, all of them came together to create this magnificent dinner we're having. What kind of advice would you give to people who are trying to cook food like this on something they should avoid doing?
Well, cooking is not that hard as they think. It can be made in a very short time or can take long time if it's like more it has more steps. But either way, it's nice to cook for yourself and your loved ones because it's the most important thing that you are having for your health to continue to your life. So I think it shouldn't be like a quick thing to order and get to your table. Okay, it's done. Let's go to the next step. It's kind of a celebration to be every day should be. So it is nice to like take your time, do the best as you can, like with the simple ingredients to create new menu every day. It is important, and I believe it's we should be like stick to it rather than go with the, like ready foods and ordering because it has more like quality and your feelings in it.
Absolutely, and your feelings, because you take your time to do every step the way it should be done, and
We
we don't
also
rush it.
believe, yeah, that's right. Like we also believe, like whoever is cooking the meal, it's gives its like feelings to it. So if it's like from some ordering from no matter like what restaurants, you get those, ingredients and feelings from them rather than your
I love that.
mom's or
I love that as an idea.
yeah, yeah.
We love
So
that.
it is important.
You started your YouTube career about 14 years ago. How has it helped you to learn more, maybe, or appreciate your cuisine?
My like YouTube career grew and my also like learnings experiences continue to grow with it because I when I make the contents when I like look for the research for the new recipes I also get more experience and when I made my channel like global I begin to do like more classic version recipes and like from historical with historical researches, I got the Ottoman cuisine recipes. So it also made me go to another level to search more so I can give more to my viewers, like the beginning from the history, the behind of it, and to share like more not well known recipes too.
And it's very important because you also get to understand your own history and your ancestors. It's very important. How does it make you feel when you share your culture with a wider audience? So many more people get to understand, breaking stereotypes, of course, and understanding what really Turkish or Istanbul or from Samsun or from Cappadocia, whatever recipe you do, culture is like.
Well, I feel responsible because I do represent like my cuisine. I believe it is important because somehow like the popular recipes, popular dishes can be like too much seen, but there are lots of it behind to discover. So I try to bring that out, and I also got lots of nice comments that they through my recipes they remember like their grandma's dishes that is forgotten. For example, they live abroad, they cannot reach the Turkish food, so they make it themselves. If they have a Turkish boyfriend, they want to cook for him, so they make it for them, and they give thanks to me.
You're an important part of connecting everybody. And it's like you say, it's a big responsibility, but also really rewarding when you step back and think of how many more people are appreciating your culture just from communicating with them through a screen. Is there something you would like people to know so they can appreciate more Turkish cuisine, especially from Istanbul, as well as maybe breaking any misconceptions that people have about the food here?
Well, yes, I do. When, for example, I ask like the first dish comes to mind from Turkish cuisine, what would you say?
Typically kebab.
Kebab, that's right. We have beautiful kebabs, but it's just only one part of the one like regional dish of us, which is the southeastern part. But we have like 7 other regions with 7 different seasons and producers we have. So the cuisines also affected by those things like
Extremely diverse.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's like maybe 1% of it, the kebab,
And it's very
but it is still it's a very still like huge effects that brings, and we love it. We love the kebabs, but so there are other things too. Like for example, in the Black Sea region, we have lots of fish dishes and vegetables. To the Asian side, we have lots of olive oil dishes, vegetarian dishes that we don't do it, especially because having a vegetarian diet, but we love it to use the olive oils, the fresh vegetables. It's already on our cuisine.
and it's that's the thing. Many cases people try to reinvent vegan cuisine. Even in the 1940s, people didn't have so much access to meat daily. So they had a lot of traditional recipes which involved just vegetables and incredibly flavorful ingredients but are accessible to everyone. And these things are, I think, are not well represented in a restaurant when you go to. People say, oh, everything is meat, but it, Turkish cuisine is not always
It
meat.
begins to change, thankfully, because we realize, all the chefs and restaurants also realize the importance of the regional cuisines. So they bring it to their table. For example, even tarhana, you would say it's like a poor man's soup, but now it's like in the 5 stars restaurants. I see that and I feel
They
very
appreciate
happy
its
about it.
value.
Yeah, yeah, that's really
Absolutely.
nice. Yeah, it's not only meat, but lots of other things we have. And our moms, like our elders, were very good of not to wasting any food, but creating many dishes. Like even in one dish, for example, they cook the flour with butter and put it as a filling into a flat kind of a flatbread or yufka or filo sheets, but it's very flavorful becomes. Just one thing, it's the same ingredient, you use it as a filling, but comes out very flavorful. So we have lots of examples and recipes using stale bread, for example. And tarhana is also, one of the first fermented dishes and ready soup in the ancient history.
It's something
to
I
make.
always have when I'm feeling lazy, when I'm feeling like I don't want to cook much, or something I want to make something different. Trahana is always there for me. So you are an incredible cook, clearly. I mean, it's living proof. My full belly is definitely living proof. But is there a dish that you really love from your mom that you like her to do, and you think you're still not good enough for that?
Well, I think it's börek.
Yeah.
Because it's something that I love since I was a child. And when I get like the smell of it, when I come back home from like school or work, glass of tea, it was like a happy meal.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's the same with my grandma. She makes it with spinach and feta net. Not my favorite, one of my favorite food in the whole world. From my grandma, not from anybody else. From everybody else is good. My grandma is 2 levels up. Because of that, it's the amount of love they put into it and the childhood memories that are connected to this. How would you suggest to an average person who's coming to Turkey, to Istanbul especially, how would you suggest them to travel in order to have the best experience possible?
Well, I think they should come like feeling to not follow one route, but just to go out like very early in the morning and then not rush to go from place to place, but feel the city.
Yeah, take in the moment.
Yeah, take the moment and watch the people and then walk. Don't use like mostly don't use transportations, like especially in the old city area you don't have to, and it is not always the wise choose to use transportation because it's very hard to get from place to place, especially with car or taxi. But if you spend the time rather than in traffic to walk, you discover more. You don't know what's gonna be in front of you in the other streets. You might stop in a like very small shop or bakery and then you get a nicest and crunchy simit rather than having like in the very touristic area. Those are like the little moments you have to look for, I believe. Spend
Absolutely.
like more time even like in one area to see, because it also changes in half an hour. I don't know, like the other people comes, that could be like a conversation.
I see you were very, very concentrated in what you were doing, but you were also having a lot of fun while you were cooking. What goes inside your head while you're creating something like this?
What I can say, like when I choose new like content, or I usually like to eat at home rather than outside. So I also bring the street food to my house. They do love what I make. It is especially a little bit harder to please my daughter because she always comes up with different recipes for me, because she grew up with with YouTube along with, so she always keeps me busy with new recipes, helping me. But from time to time, it also challenges me to try new recipes. So I make like the doner, even the flatbreads. I would usually never do it at home. It was like, if you ask 10 years ago, I would say like it's something you eat outside. Having a child is something challenges you to make everything, like even the street food, at home in a home environment, to make it more like gourmet style. I don't know, niche style.
Yeah, okay. Would you like to walk me through your menu today? What did you make?
I made mercimek çorbası, lentil soup. It is one of the like first soup comes to mind in Turkish cuisine. You can find it in every restaurant and at home like once, twice a week.
Is it?
Yeah. And we made the sauce on top, the beautiful red sauce with butter and paprika. The next dish was the köfte, the main dish, köfte and potato, which is my favorite dish from my childhood. Again, every kids would love köfte. You can say, yeah.
I can see the reason why. Yeah.
And it is also like very easy to make, to bring everything together and then bake, and then pop it to the oven with the tomato sauce, and then leave it there to do its job. So it's a very easy and hard dish to make. As a side dish, I made the rice pilau with orzo pasta. It's also a staple side dish. We make a pilau. It goes well with all the meat dishes, kebabs along. As a salad, I wanted to make like a light kind of spread, or meze kind of salad with sauteed carrots and zucchini. I sauteed in olive oil and then added some like salt. You can add paprika in it if you like, and garlic, of course, would gives very beautiful like distinct flavor. And then you simply mix it with plain yogurt, wholemeal yogurt, full fat yogurt. Sorry.
But everything was fantastic, and now we have the dessert, which is the halva.
Yeah, helva is also has a very good place in our Turkish cuisine with lots of varieties from Ottoman times. And this is one of them made with semolina. We also have ones with flour.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and like starch. and using honey or molasses to sweeten. Back then, of course, there were no sugar, so they were sweetening it.
With natural
Sweetening it,
sweeteners.
yeah.
Yeah.
But now we make it simply with like sugar. It's a nice again like with couple of ingredients, but
You don't need
comes
much to enjoy.
yeah.
I think we established that. That's the secret. Use a few ingredients, but high quality ingredients, and everything will be perfect after. I love that. So let's have some dessert then. Would you like to tell me what drives your inspiration for continuing doing new recipes, experimenting, and if this city actually inspires you to do more?
Well, surely I have lots of content to continue to my passion, to what I love to cook every day, which is what we also do. We eat every day, but it is the difference is how much care you give when you're cooking, when you are eating. If you want to do it as a celebration, if you want to just skip as a quick, fill-in, if you want to be thankful for the day to have another meal on your table. So those are the important things. And also to be on the same table every day for a dinner with the same people you love. I mean, the keeping like the routines are also a blessing, I think.
Absolutely. With a hectic day outside, I think it's a safe haven to be here and enjoy a nice meal and always try something different. And
Yeah, like
your family can be the harshest critics, but the ones who appreciate it the most.
like the breakfast time is very important for us as a meal. We do it like big spreads. It doesn't always happen during the weekdays, like rush hours when you go to school or work. So it is nice to have like weekend breakfasts as a spread to spend more time to cook couple of more dishes along with regular like quick breakfasts. It is something to even celebrate as its own actually.
What do you think is the secret ingredient to all of your recipes? What makes it so good?
Well, keep it simple, but know that it's a blessing to have all the ingredients until like even a piece of rice or a piece of bread, and be thankful that you are able to cook for your loved ones.
I think that's very important as a mindset before you start even cooking. Absolutely. As a closing note, would you like to give a message to the people?
We love Istanbul. We love our cuisine, Turkish cuisine. We always, even as Istanbulites, we always discover new things, and we are always welcome to discover it as well. Our beautiful Turkish cuisine. It's a lot to see here.
And I would like as many people as possible, if they have the opportunity, to come here and experience it themselves and make their own stories here, because this will definitely leave a mark in their heart. I'm sure about it.
I'm also thankful. It was nice to have you here and talk about our like cultures. Yeah, it's really nice.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to have
Thank you.
you.